Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about deck number 274, and our commander is Teferi, or Niambi, who, through proxy, our commander is Teferi. Because she has one job, she does it really, really well. She's a 3-mana 2-2, which is not an impressive on her own, but she does go and get the boss man, Mr. Teferi. So, I mean, even if he's already died, that's the beautiful thing. If you've already gotten him out, maybe you've ulted him, taken that extra turn, whatever, and you can go. If she dies, you can play her again and go get him again because she pulls him out of the yard. Anyway, it is the week to Fairy. She probably is not the most exciting. The only way to get Niambi is in the Teferi Planeswalker deck. But she is in the set. She's high numbered, obviously, 272 of 269. So, but she is part of the 44. There are 42 legendary creatures in the set proper, plus, of course, her and Firesong and Sunspeaker. But let's take a look at Boss Man here. Mr. Teferi does not bode well for foil in matte sleeve. But anyway, I use matte sleeve so they don't glare as much. But you can untap something, you can gain some life and draw 2 cards, which is probably what we're going to do with him most of the time. Is we're going to plus him enough just to draw the cards. And then you can time walk, if he gets out there and he's left alone for a couple of turns. So that's the auto include. Obviously, you play her, you got to play him. And I was like, well, what do we do with it? Where we go from there? And I was like, well, I should probably play real Teferi since nowadays there's no, since they're all legendary and you can have both Teferis in play at the same time. Why not? So playing real Teferi. And then I was like, well, since we're all about Boss Man here, let's go ahead and get original Teferi. So I'm pretty far down in this rabbit hole now. So I was like, well, what do all these things have in common? Well, they are all historic, either legendary creatures or legendary planeswalkers. So I kind of went down the whole planeswalker path first. We got a Jace, we got a Gideon, we have a Narset, Mr. Bond, Vincer, and our last walker is, of course, Mr. Karn. New Karn. So I was like, well, they're all walkers, so we're still historic. So I wanted to go the historic route. Why not? Let's build a historic deck. So there's actually quite a few cards from Dominaria in here. The Decklist is, of course, on tapped out, and I'm hoping they get that little bug fixed at some point in time, because right now they're still saying the program is saying that all cards from Dominaria are not legal yet. I don't know what's up with that, but so we'll just start in a random place. We have Baird. Now some of these I've done the decks of, some of them haven't. Raph is like super king of the world because he allows you to play most of your deck at instant speed. Can you imagine just flashing out, I don't know, Traxos, just EOT Traxos, and untapping it on your turn with a 1-mana Hope of Gearper? Tromo Caddis is in there just because it's cute and I like it, and it is a 7-mana 8/8 that literally has no drawback. Its drawback is it loses hexproof when it attacks or when it participates in combat. Wow. Okay. 7-mana 8/8s that don't like eat your lands or whatever. Yeah, it's hard to cast. Whatevs. We have the Pride. I don't have a whole lot of creatures with first strike, but I'm playing him for the historic because you still gotta have creatures. Evra, here again, 40 life total. Avacyn, baby Avacyn. Azami. It's weird how many wizards I've got. I didn't really realize how many wizards I had. Even like Ethereum Sculptor. This is a historic trigger because it's an artifact. And it makes your other artifacts cheaper. So maybe you turn 2 this and turn 3 Traxos and turn 4 start getting in there. Because, to untap your Traxos, you just Pilgrim died to fix your mana and to get the historic trigger. Ispira. Now, Danitha. If you just Smuggler's Copter, I don't know why this don't see more play. Yes, it is a 3/3, but it's good, reliable filtering. I mean, it really is. It's and pretty much that's what we got it in there for, and the fact that it is an artifact. Now, Naban here again, we kind of have a wizard thing going, but not really, kind of. Tashar. Kefnet's going to draw some cards, but right now I kind of want to talk about Baral. I said Baral, not Brawl, even though right now it's the same thing. For those of you who are following the competitive Brawl scene, it has devolved into this guy. Anyway, I don't play that format. Y'all probably know more about it than I do. My card pool is dedicated to this. Anyway, since I'm playing him, instant sorceries cost a little bit less. So I kind of went through, I'm going to say protection because we are kind of fragile. And anything that's going to kill all our stuff, we're probably just going to want to deal with as it's cast, counter that junk. So Hinder is, oh gosh, Hinder's so good. My buddy Danny, Hinder Tunnel Visions people, he does that like a lot. Remove Soul, Insidious Will. Now, Insidious Will is one of my favorites. You're overpaying for all 3. I get that. You have a counterspell, a deflection, or a fork. What? I mean, it's like all the things that, well, I guess fork's red, but now it's blue. But it's all the things that blue spells do in one card. It's whatever you need. Because I love to play with deflection, but let's face it, it's a crappy card. And there are a lot of times it just sits there dead in your hand, and you're like, oh, I'm going to deflect your Doomblade or whatever. Anyway, almost forgot a creature. Tomorrow, since we're free tops every single time you draw, that's amazing. What else do we have? I guess we can go through some ramp and or mana fixing. I'm going to roll through these pretty quick. They're pretty simple. The Talisman. We got Diamonds. Ring. Now, Star Compass I like. Because now, keep in mind, regardless of how crappy all these are, all of this ramp is, there's no Soul Ring because I'm out of Soul Rings, but they're historic triggers. So try to use as many historic trigger things as I could. Cluestone. Now, Honor Worn Shaku. I don't know how this is going to play, because I'll be honest with you, I have never cast this card. But it looks like in a pinch, it might be able to, I mean, if not, it's Powerstone Shard, and hell, I'll play that anyway, but it's 3 for 1 for a colorless. But you have a chance here to maybe, do a little more with it. A Signet, a Key Rune, and a Border Post. Now, in Bolas's Clutches, a little bit of removal-ish, if you will. Also, triggers historic. Sarah Disciple, sadly, there's not a whole lot of historic junt. Uh, I don't know. It doesn't feel like historic is going to be evergreen. It feels like that it's going to be a Dominaria only thing. I don't know if it'll be this set only. Maybe we come back to Dominaria. Maybe the next set's on Dominaria. I don't know. But it seems like historic is kind of a here and now thing. And it's not because it's artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. I don't know if they're going to want to write sagas on, reminder text of a different set that don't have sagas. So that's just me. But Thran Temporal Gateway will straight up dump them in play. This is our amulet for historic. So it's 4/4. It really upsets me that because the Quicksilver Amulet was 4/4, but you only got to dump a creature. So this is, while a little more specific, you can probably in the right deck field a little more cards with it. Now, as y'all noticed, that was a whole lot of legends. So Heroes Podium is the coat of arms for legends. Just for you. And it lets you legend top, if you will. Oath of Teferi, playing all those walkers' abilities twice a turn. This is large and I can't even remember what the first line does. In the battlefield, exile another target permanent you control. You blink something. Okay, what if you blink it? Sure, fine. Maybe maybe Teferi has died, and you blink Niambi to go get Teferi again. I don't know. Maybe that's the plan with those two. But 2 activations? Oh my gosh. I was really, really close to running a Chain Veil in this deck. However, I just don't know that, what is that, 6 walkers? I just don't know that that's enough to justify the Chain Veil. I don't know. Maybe, I've got Chainmail, that's not a problem, but, or the Chain Veil, rather. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What do y'all think? Maybe it can take the place of, something weird like Spellbook. That's probably a better option anyway. Yeah, probably. Anyway. The Weatherlight. Why they didn't put the in front of it, I do not know. But Weatherlight is it is the reason. I was super excited about this card in particular. The fact that it was the first card they started on, but yet the last card they finished. I lost my breath. I almost shed a tear when I saw the art. And this Weatherlight was not in the Gosh Book League, because we were just, I don't think it was. No, it wasn't. Anyway, love this card. I love it. I almost bought a table mat of it, but I don't know what I would have done with a table mat as I sit here and look at a table. I have like 5 mats on it. Oh man, should have done it. Anyway. And of course, the one shot, the Weatherlight ability is balling as well. Not to mention the fact that, it does turn into a 4/5 flyer. But the ability, of course, board the Weatherlight is the one shot. Oh, I missed the Mana Rock. Cameo. Ooh. We also have Possessive Teferi's Moat, because, that's a thing he did. Urza's Ruinous Blast is just about one-sided. Now, granted, we're going to lose our Mana Rocks, but if that's the downside, I mean, yeah, people's commanders are still going to be left out there. The jury's still out on if this is, good in our format or not. But I think in situations it can be, and in situations it can be bad. But obviously, you're not going to cast it if it's not beneficial to you. I mean, Karn's Temporal Sundering is the other legendary sorcery. Now, these being having to have a legendary creature in play, obviously for this deck is not a problem. We got them starting as early as turn 1, if we get that lucky. But and here again, we can reset Niambi if we need to, and then take an extra turn to cast her and go get. I mean, I don't know. Impulse, a little bit of card draw. Oh, I forgot a counterspell too. Disdainful Stroke. Reciprocate. Disenchant. Of course, STP. Now, Days Undoing. I do have Days Undoing. Days Undoing is remarkable if you can give it flash. And pretty much that's it. It's kind of unremarkable at that. This card actually got played last Friday night, and it is the last thing you do on your turn. You just fill up, and maybe it doesn't suck that bad. Here again, I've never cast this card, believe it or not. I've got it in decks. Y'all have seen it in some of my decks. I've just never drawn it. But so maybe it's not bad that the last thing the blue player does during their turn is fill up their hand. So I don't know. Then we have Evacuation. Just a good old staple. This is what you use what we used long before the Cyclonic Rift. And, you use it now when you run out of Cyclonic Rifts. But Cyclonic Rift's an amazing card. They need to print it like 50 million copies of it, so it needs to be in every set so that it gets down cheap. Because we all want a bunch. The rest is just regular old lands. Of course, I got the Rogue's Passage. Now, Overo, it's not that we need a bunch of landfall triggers, but it was legendary. I mean, it don't come into play tapped or anything. It's essentially a legendary island, but it's not an island. But we don't really have anything that keys in on islands anyway. So we could do some legendary shenanigans with it, like maybe tap it for that thing, Honor Warren Shaku. No, because that doesn't make any sense. I could just get a blue out of this. Anyway, where else am I going to use this for? Blue landfall? I think I already did that. Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But I think we're going to keep going. And it's time to shuffle and cut.